old. Okay,
Hare Krishna.
Okay, sister.
Thank you, Prabhu.
I just got a bad knee. We're all getting old. You can sit here.
I like that arrangement.
This is lovely.
We have one who doesn't speak any English or any Russian.
Okay.
Simultaneous Russian.
No problem. And this is water. Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not taking someone else's water.
You translated, probably. You translating?
So nice here, Miami. It's like being back in Alachua. You get the sunshine, you get the humidity, you get everything.
Yeah. You got to get full but no winter.
I know winter, like New York. So Prabhu has mentioned that it's Caitanya-caritamrita Class, so they're chanting Parama Karuna first verse.
Сегодня
Which is nice. These deities, don't these deities look a lot like our Alachua deities?
Yes.
I remember Prabhupada brought 3 sets of Gaur-Nitai, and they all look exactly the same. Atlanta, Alachua, and Miami. I think they're all the same family of deities. Beautiful. Parama Karuna Bahundvijana Nityai Gaura Chandra
Parama Karuna
Bahundvijana
Nitai Gaurachandra
Parama Karuna Nityai Parudvijana Nityai Gaura Chandra
Parama Karuna Pahujana Nitai Gaurachandra
Prabha Avatara Sara Shiromani Kevala Ananda Kanda
Saravavatara Sarasharamani Kevalananda Kanda
Bhaja Bhaja Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishvasa Kori
Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sudridha Vishvasa Kori
Vishaya Chadiya Shera Shemajiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari
Vishaya Chadiya Serase Majiya Mukhe Bolo Hari Hari
Deke Ore Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Deke Ore Bhai Tribhuvanenai Emuna Doyala Data
Dekore Bhai Tribhuvanenai Emona Doyala Data
Pashupake Jure Pasana Vidare Shune Janra Gunagata
Pashupaki Jure Pashana Vidare Sunijanra Gunagata
Sangsare Majia Rohili Poria Sepadena Hilo Asha
Samsare Majiya Rohili Poria Sepadina Hilasa
Apana Karama Punjaye Shamana Kahoye Lochana Dasha
Apana Karama Bunjaya Samana Kahoye Lochana Dasa
Sangsare Majia Rohili Poria Sepadena Hilo Asha
Samsare Majiya Rohili Poria Sepadina Hilasa
Apana Karama Bunjaye Shamana Kahoye Lochana Dasha
Apana Karama Bunjaye Shamana Kahoye Lochana Dasa
Sare Majia Royal. We're finished. Do we chant? Do you also read the?
Usually read the translation.
You usually read the translation. We're learning so many things here. Sri Sri Gora Nityananda Daya, the mercy of Sri Gora and Nityananda. And this is the song that Prabhupada taught the devotees in 1975 at Atlanta, when he installed the merciful Gaur Nitai there. Lord Nitai and Lord Gaurachandra are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduce the process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. My dear brothers, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification, become absorbed in worshiping Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda, and simply chant Hare Krishna, Hari Hari, without any material motive. My dear brothers, just try to examine this. Within the three worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even birds and beasts cry and stones melt. But I, Lochan Das, regret that I am entrapped by sense gratification. I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, and therefore Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted by this movement. Lochan Das Thakur ki. There's one advantage of sitting under Vyasasana. Guru says you can't sit here anymore because you can't cross your legs. But when you sit here, the mosquitoes don't bite you when you sit under Vyasasana cross-legged. So you might want to unlock that guy. Will it stay awake now?
Yeah, just tap it.
Okay, just tap it once in a while. The reading from Sri Caitanya-caritamrita Adi-lila. Let's see. And this is text 519. Is it up there? Or does it have to be up there? I guess we're now doing repeating. Brahmande prakash tara krishnera ichoy, eka I swarup tara nahi dui koi. In the word for word, Brahmande, within the material world, prakash, manifestation, tara, of it, krishnera ichoy, by the supreme will of Lord Krishna, eka I, it is the same, swarup, identity, tara, of it, nahi, not, dui, two, kaya, bodies. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
I would suggest one sentence at a time if he's translating in Russian.
Oh, Prabhu's translating it to Russian.
Yeah.
I'll go slower, Prabhu.
Which verse, excuse me? Which verse?
This
Which verse?
is 519 of Adi-lila.
Yeah.
Is there a big Russian congregation in the area?
No, it's on the internet.
Just the internet just going out. I was just wondering if it was local.
You're world famous now.
And we'll have to have Govinda Priya take Russian classes too. Okay, so should I repeat that again, Prabhu, if you like?
Oh, no.
Okay, the translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. That abode is manifested within the material world by the will of Krishna.
По воле Господа Кришны эта обитель проявилась и в материальном мире.
It is identical to that original Gokul.
Она не отлична от изначальной Гокулы.
They are not two different bodies.
Оба этих места суть одно.
Purport.
Комментарий.
The above-mentioned dhammas are movable
Дхаммы, о которых только что говорилось, могут по воле
by the omnipotent will of Lord Krishna.
могут по воле всемогущего Господа перемещаться в пространстве.
When Sri Krishna appears on the face of the earth,
Когда Шри Кришна нисходит на землю,
He can also make his dhammas appear
Вместе с ним проявляются его дхаммы.
without changing their original structure.
Не следует проводить различий между этим.
One should not discriminate between the dhammas on the earth and those in the spiritual sky.
Между дамами на земле и в духовном мире не следует проводить различия.
Thinking those on earth to be material,
Полагая, что они, проявляясь на земле, эти обители становятся материальными.
and the original abodes to be spiritual.
И те, и другие обители духовны.
All of them are spiritual.
Все они духовны.
Only for us, who cannot experience anything beyond matter,
В обусловленном состоянии мы не способны воспринимать ничего, кроме материи.
in our present conditioned state,
Поэтому только ради нас, Дхаммы и сам Господь,
do the dhammas and the Lord himself
I read a full sentence.
Languages
are mixed backward and forward. So
No
just do the
problem.
whole sentence.
Okay, only for us who cannot experience anything beyond matter in our present conditioned state, do the Dhammas and the Lord himself, in his archer form, appear before us resembling matter, to give us the facility to see spirit with material eyes. In the beginning, this may be difficult for a neophyte to understand, but in due course, when one is advanced in devotional service, it will be easier, and he will appreciate the Lord's presence in these tangible forms.
В обусловленном состоянии мы не способны воспринимать ничего, кроме материи. Поэтому только ради нас, Дхаммы и сам Господь в образе Арча-виграхи принимают облик, подобный материальному, чтобы дать нам возможность увидеть Дух материальными глазами. Начинающему преданному нелегко это осознать, но по мере продвижения по пути бхакти он все явственнее ощущает присутствие Господа в этих осязаемых образах. Конец комментария.
The translation again. That abode is manifested within the material world by the will of Lord Krishna. It is identical to that original Gokul. They are not two different bodies.
И еще раз перевод. По воле Господа Кришны эта обитель проявилась и в материальном мире. Она не отлична от изначальной Гокулы. Оба этих места суть одно.
It's interesting that in the translation, identical to the original Gokula, but in our, we know that Gokul and Goloka are the differentiation between that abode, which is beyond the material, and then Gokul, which appears non-different, but within the material world. So that, for some reason, Prabhupada is making that distinction here. Just it seems to emphasize that there is no difference, that Gokula and Goloka are the same, as we can understand. Say that one more time. Oh, he's going to translate. Oh, my goodness, I got to remember. Okay, Guru. Do your thing. So we should say that here Prabhupada seems to be making a distinction between, no distinction between Gokul and Goloka, but he doesn't mention Goloka here.
Между Галокой и Гокулой нет различия, но здесь именно упоминается Галока.
And that this seems to be to emphasize that for us, we tend to think that Goloka is in the spiritual world only, that we understand Goloka Evanam. So this is, and that Gokul is the manifestation within the Adi-lila. You know Adi-lila? The earthly manifest pastimes of Krishna? Adi-lila.
Баума-лила. Галока и Гокула для нас кажутся одинаковыми, но на самом деле это проявление одной и той же духовной обители, но Гокула, она проявлена в Баума-лиле.
So we see that in the purport, Prabhupada refers to both as dhammas.
И Прабхупада в своем комментарии упоминает их обе как дхаммы.
And that there is no difference.
Но между ними нет разницы.
In the Brahma Samhita, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta gives a more technical description of the situation of the dhammas.
И Бхактисиддханта Сарасвати дает определение дхам.
And he implies that both are existing simultaneously on the same plane of existence.
Они одновременно существуют на одном и том же существовании.
But they're not visible to us in the same way that we cannot see. If one was to draw a line 100 miles long,
Они невидимы для нас, поскольку мы не способны их увидеть нашим зрением.
and technically someone situated on this end and someone situated on the other end, they would be on the same plane.
И технически это может быть казаться, что находится на одном уровне, на другом и на одном плане.
But they could not see each other.
Но они невидимы друг для друга.
So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta even further elaborates that this plane of existence, 180 degrees, which indicates a singularity, one unbroken line of existence. Brahma Samhita purports by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta are very detailed.
Бхактисиддханта Сарасвати очень детально описывает это в комментарии к Брахма Самхите.
And we encourage everyone to read his translation
И мы вдохновлены, чтобы читать эти переводы
and purports,
и комментарии.
which also include purports from Jiva Goswami.
И также они содержат комментарии Дживы Госвами.
But the point is that, as it's described here, the dhams are not different. We just cannot see them.
И суть в том, что дхаммы, они различны, но мы не можем видеть их.
Just like dimensional, certain living entities cannot perceive anything beyond 2 dimensions.
И живые существа, они не могут постичь эти два этих измерения.
And human beings can see in 3 dimensions.
И живые существа, они могут видеть только 3 измерения.
But other living entities more advanced can see in all dimensions.
А другие живые существа, которые более продвинуты, они могут видеть все измерения,
Including past, present, and future.
включая прошлое, настоящее и будущее.
So of course, for those who have had the privilege to live in Sri Vrindavan Dham, as Panchagoda has and as many others have, it is an effort to adjust these realities philosophically and materially in order to avoid committing any offenses to the Dhamvasis, and any other consideration related to the Dham.
И они стараются постичь философски, материально эти все философские понятия и одновременно избегать оскорблений, которые уже могут быть нанесены Дхамме или жителям Дхаммы.
And because the Dhams are non-different,
Поскольку Дхаммы не одинаковы,
the spiritual benefit is immeasurable
духовное благо, оно неизмеримое
for one who has had that good fortune to reside there.
для нас, кто получил часть этого.
So this thinking that is even Golokera Prema Dana Hari Nam Sankirtan. So this is indication by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur that this holy name is also descended from the spiritual world directly.
Шрила Бхактивинода Такур, он говорит о том, что все исходит непосредственно из духовного мира.
And the holy name, like the Dhammas, are non-different than Sri Krishna himself.
И святые имена Дхаммы и Кришна, они не отличные.
So one should be careful not to make any distinction between the name, the form, Nama Chintamani Krishna Caitanya Rasa Vigraha. That there should not be any misconception or misunderstanding about the absolute nature of Krishna, his name, his fame, his paraphernalia, and everything related to him.
И необходимо быть очень внимательным, чтобы не совершить ошибку, поскольку Кришна, его имя, его дхамы, они не отличны друг от друга. Это необходимо понимать.
And so one has to constantly, at least in Vrindavan, adjust his vision in order to see things in their proper perspective.
И необходимо видеть развитие духовного зрения и видеть это все с правильной перспективы.
And if one is fortunate, he can transfer that ability to all aspects of his internal and external spiritual practice.
И если кто-то удачен, то он может иметь эту способность видеть эти все духовные проявления.
We also had experience that when Srila Prabhupada would come to the temple, the entire atmosphere would change.
И мы имели этот опыт, когда Шрила Прабхупада приходил в храм, то вся атмосфера изменялась.
So we can understand the purport that wherever these saintly persons go, that is itself a dham.
И мы видим, что куда бы святой человек ни пошел, все это место, оно становится дхамой.
And that places of pilgrimage are not geographical locations where some river flows, but that place where the saintly persons congregate, chanting the glories of the Lord.
И святые места – это не там, куда совершается паломничество, а там, где святой человек приходит и организовывает совместное воспевание.
So we have the opportunity to make each and every place where Srila Prabhupada has established a temple, and even those places which are yet to be manifest, that they are also holy places of pilgrimage.
И мы могли видеть, что везде, куда Шрила Прабхупада приезжал, он устанавливал храмы, воспевания, и они все становятся местами паломничества.
Like New Naimisharanya,
Как Нью-Намишарanya,
which has a very spiritual, peaceful, tranquil, transcendental atmosphere.
Там очень духовная, мирная, трансцендентная атмосфера.
And therefore, anyone who comes into the association of the devotees and the deities will get the same benefit as if he goes to the Dham in Vrindavan, Mayapur, Jagannath Puri or Dwarka.
И любой, кто туда попадает, получает там общение с преданными, с божествами, он получает тоже благо, если он окажется во Вриндаване, в Майяпуре или в Джаганатхапуре, или в Двараке.
So this is the mercy of our acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, that he has enlightened us so that we can understand and appreciate how Krishna appears in his deity form and everything that's associated with him. That same verse, Namachintamani Krishna Caitanya Rasa Vigraha, Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukta Binadvam Nama Namino. That everything is exactly the same, but it is up to us to develop our vision, Premanjana-charita Bhakti Valochana, to be able to see it once we develop some spark of genuine love for Krishna. Too long. Can they also hear the same, what we're speaking?
Yes.
The Russian? I'm sure there's somebody sitting next to them also translating. And I apologize. Please accept my apologies. In any case, we're very, Prabhupada is impelling us to rise up above our mundane outlook on spiritual life.
И Шрила Прабхупада, он вдохновил нас с тем, чтобы подняться выше обычного понимания и развить духовное зрение.
Sometimes one becomes entangled in management, and his daily activity is simply thinking how to make things nice for the devotees and the deities.
Иногда кто-то вовлечен слишком в менеджмент и думает о том, как устроить, организовать все служение божествам более лучше.
But we have to recognize and follow Srila Prabhupada's example, how he remained aloof.
И мы должны смотреть на то, как Шрила Прабхупада это все устраивал.
Even while dealing with the most difficult situations that management can present.
Даже в каких-то сложных обстоятельствах, ситуациях, связанных с менеджерством.
So he gave managers one primary instruction.
И мы даем менеджерам основное наставление.
He said, if you chant your 16 rounds, management will be at your fingertips.
И когда вы воспеваете свои 16 кругов, то менеджмент будет на кончиках ваших пальцев.
So this is the first priority of anyone who wants to be a nimittamatram bhava sabhyasachan. For anyone who wants to become an instrument.
И это первая рекомендация для всех тех, кто хочет стать надежным инструментом.
To serve the mission of the spiritual master and Krishna.
Служить в миссии сознания Кришны.
He also has to develop that ability.
И он также может развить способность
To put everything in perspective, understanding that his duty is to execute things purely.
Что это действие, оно очищает все, что мы делаем после.
In the relation to the spiritual master, the term that's used is transparent via medium.
И в отношении духовного учителя мы должны понимать, что он является прозрачной средой.
Just like glass is transparent and you can see through it.
Подобно тому, как стакан, он прозрачный, и мы можем видеть через него.
So the message of Godhead should be very clear.
Сообщение Бога может быть очень ясным.
Without any mental, how can you say, coloring.
Без каких-то наших мыслительных окрашиваний.
So if one himself is afflicted with the modes of material nature,
поскольку каждый он так или иначе как-то затронут материальной природой
to an excessive degree,
на степени,
because we are all affected.
Поскольку мы все затронуты этим.
But the Bhagavatam gives us some hint.
Но Бхагаватам дает нам один намек.
Tada rajas tamau bhavo kama lobhadayas chaye. So this is indicating that yes, there's a challenge that one has to first of all recognize.
И он говорит, Бхагаватам говорит, что да, это вызов, и каждый из нас должен прежде всего понять.
Because without that recognition, then one is sure to fall into one of those three modes.
Без того, чтобы упасть в эти три гуны материальной природы.
Without the transcendental overlay. Without the transcendental understanding.
Можно упасть только без трансцендентного понимания.
That allows one to see them from a distant place.
И оно помогает нам увидеть отдаленное место.
And act accordingly.
И действовать в соответствии, чтобы достичь его.
There's one famous story from Mayapur.
Есть одна знаменитая история из Майяпура.
Has everyone here been to Mayapur?
Yeah.
So there's what they call the boundary wall. And on the front boundary wall, which is adjacent to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Marg, there are rooms.
Там есть Бхактисиддханта Сарасвати комната.
And those rooms used to be for the workers who would be doing hand loom. You know, hand loom, weaving, the shuttle.
И там есть люди, которые вот они там что-то делали в этой комнате.
And in the corner of the, when you, Prabhupada would do parikrama, So as you would come to the corner where the long building and the perimeter wall meet,
И когда Прабхупада там совершал парикраму, он подошел к углу здания и там встретил кого-то.
there are the workers' bathrooms.
И там был рабочий, который делал ванную комнату.
So on that morning walk, as Prabhupada passed that area, he observed the situation, but didn't say anything at that point.
И Прабхупада, он в то утро, он ходил вокруг, смотрел, что там происходит, все увидел, но ничего не сказал.
But when he came to the temple to give Bhagavatam class,
И когда он вернулся в храм и дал класс по Бхагаватам,
he gave a very heavy chastisement.
и он очень сильно отчитал.
And he was basically trying to elevate them, all the audience, so that they could understand that that is such a nasty place. He called it nasty place. In the mode of ignorance.
И он сказал, что это особое место и полное страдание, полное невежество.
And he said, all of you so-called brahmanas,
И он говорит, что вы все так называемые браманы.
nobody has done anything,
Никто не может делать ничего.
that this is the mode of ignorance, and anyone who doesn't do anything about it is also in the mode of ignorance.
И тот, кто находится в невежестве, что бы он ни делал, он также находится в невежестве.
So this was a very clear instruction to everyone that you cannot observe something which needs rectification and ignore it. Otherwise, you're of the same mode. That was the point. He said, if you see something in ignorance and you don't rectify or attempt to rectify or even recognize, then you are also in the mode of ignorance because you don't see any difference.
И это очень важное наставление для всех, поскольку если кто-то видит какое-то невежество и не предпринимает попытки, чтобы это невежество исправить, то он также находится в невежестве.
So he gave the example that if you mix acid and acid, there's no reaction.
То есть если ничего не делается, никаких не происходит реакций, то это бессмысленно.
But if you mix acid and water, there's a severe reaction.
То есть если вы смешаете с водой, то получите реакцию.
So this is how he tried to clarify the point, that we should not ignore things which are in the mode of ignorance, otherwise it indicates that we are in the same mode.
То есть мы не должны игнорировать, видя какое-то невежество, и не стараться его исправить, потому что если мы его не исправляем, то мы также находимся в невежестве.
In this way, we are always encouraged to rise above the modes and
И таким образом мы вдохновлены, чтобы подняться над гунами
try to see things on the platform of pure goodness.
и стараться видеть все вещи с платформы уже чистоты,
Shuddha Sattva.
шудасаты.
And our Prabhupada also indicated that only on this platform of Shuddha Sattva
И находясь только на этой платформе шудасатвы,
can one get actual knowledge.
человек может получить действительно настоящее знание.
And so that's there. We understand that everything involved from a very gross perspective of sinful life.
И таким образом мы можем все видеть с перспективы, вот, что такое греховная жизнь.
So Krishna tells us, Yesham Tvantakatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmanam. So therefore, one has to become free from sinful activities, which are the foundation of the modes of material, these lower modes of material nature.
И он говорит, что каждый должен подняться над греховной деятельностью, поскольку это низший уровень материальной природы.
So therefore, no one can practice bhakti yoga if he is not following these four regulative principles.
И никто не может практиковать бхакти-йогу, если он не следует регулирующим принципам.
And it's interesting that when Srila Prabhupada was giving initiation directly,
И интересно, что Шрила Прабхупада давал инициации напрямую.
he would just ask those two things. Are you chanting 16 rounds, or do you promise to chant 16 rounds?
Он спрашивал два вопроса. Воспеваете ли вы 16 кругов и даете ли вы обещание воспевать 16 кругов?
And he would ask, what are the four regulative principles?
И также он спрашивал 4 регулирующих принципа.
Very simple test.
Очень простой тест.
But sometimes devotees in anxiety or frustration would forget, and they could not respond properly.
И иногда преданные, беспокоясь или переживая, они не могут правильно ответить на эти вопросы.
But yet this is the basis for all of our advancement from that point that Srila Prabhupada is giving his blessings.
И это тот момент, который дает нам возможность продвигаться благодаря милости Шрилы Прабхупады.
So it is also imperative on our part that we, how can you say, benevolently and mercifully consider everything according to time and circumstances.
И милостиво необходимо это понимать от всех обстоятельств.
And that when we encourage someone to come to Krishna consciousness, these are also the first things that should be emphasized.
И когда мы вдохновляем кого-то присоединиться к сознанию Кришны, то это также первая вещь, которая должна быть подчеркнута.
Everything else will gradually manifest.
Все постепенно проявится.
And so this is the simple process. Chant Hare Krishna, follow the four regulative principles.
Этот процесс очень простой. Воспевать Харе Кришна, следовать регулирующим принципам.
And take instructions from the spiritual master in the attitude of humility and servitude.
И получать наставления духовного учителя в соответствии со смиренно и почтительно.
And then from our experience, there will be no difficulty.
И согласно нашего опыта, это не так сложно.
The difficulty comes when we try to put our false ego in between.
И сложность возникает, когда мы ставим посередине ложное эго, свое ложное эго.
And then everything becomes filtered through our imperfect senses.
Когда мы воспринимаем что-то через наши неочищенные чувства,
Which includes the mind, which is the seat of the senses.
которые также включают в себя и ум, который является вершиной чувств.
So it takes constant course correction.
Это требует постоянной корректировки.
One cannot just think that I will put on cruise control, I've taken initiation, and now I will just do something small or something insignificant and try to avoid the temple authorities.
Человек не должен думать, что если он получил инициацию, то он может расслабиться, плыть по течению и легко все принимать.
That will not lead to a good result.
Поскольку тогда мы не получим в таком случае достойного результата.
And it is not a mundane endeavor that the temple authorities are trying to engage someone.
Это не то, что какие-то сложные усилия, когда президент храма хочет нас занять.
Srila Prabhupada said that we only have these temples for one reason.
И Шрила Прабхупада говорил, что у нас есть эти все храмы для одной причины.
To increase the followers who will come and imitate the devotees.
увеличить количество преданных, которые пытаются быть преданными. Увеличить количество людей, которые пытаются быть преданными.
by bowing down in front of the deities,
Склоняться перед божествами,
chanting the holy names.
воспевать святые имена.
And in this way, gradually they will come to the platform of spiritual life.
И таким образом они постепенно придут на платформу духовной жизни.
So therefore, we should always be clear that the only reason we have a temple is to make devotees.
И мы должны четко понимать, что единственная цель существования храма – это делать новых преданных.
This was, and we see that wherever there is a temple, automatically Krishna is sending people.
И как только где-то появляется храм, то Кришна посылает туда сразу же людей.
And we have to be ready to receive them.
И мы должны быть готовы, чтобы встретить их.
Not that it's too difficult. We have to make some facility. We have to. One example, when we first started the Bhakti program in New York, Manhattan, 55th Street, Danavir Maharaj.
Когда у нас был такой опыт, когда мы начали программу Бхакта программ в Нью-Йорке, то Данавир Махарадж
sent one of his God brothers, our God brothers, by the name Urjasvat.
И он пригласил духовного брата Урджасват
to start the Bhakti program in New York City.
Чтобы начать эту Бхакта программу в Нью-Йорке.
So I was asked at that time to assist him.
И в то время я спросил, чтобы могу ли я ему помочь.
And so we had that building had many floors, 11 floors.
И этот храм очень большой, у него там 11 этажей.
So one section of one floor was set aside just for the Bhakti program.
И один этаж мы выделили специально под Бхакта программ.
And Urjasvat asked me to make arrangements to purchase certain things.
И он попросил меня сделать определенные приготовления для некоторых вещей.
So he told me he wanted 12 bunk beds. You know bunk bed? Like in the military, it's 2-level bed. One level up, one level higher. Called bunk bed. In the military they use. So this double level bed. One lower, one higher.
Он попросил, чтобы я сделал вот как бы такой типа двухэтажный пол, что-то такое.
And he asked me to get 12 sleeping bags, and 12 of everything. 12 toothbrush, 12 this, and put it in the closet.
Он попросил меня всего приготовить по 12 всех вещей и собрать их.
So I told him that we don't have any bhaktas.
Но я ему сказал, но у нас нет никаких бхакт.
He said, basically, and it's a famous line from a movie, he said, if you make arrangements, they will come.
Он сказал, что если вы все подготовите для них, то они придут.
And as soon as we finished stocking the closet, immediately one person approached and said, I'd like to live in the temple. How can I do that?
И когда он закончил этот первый класс, то немедленно появился один человек, пришел и спросил, могу ли я жить в храме, что мне для этого нужно.
So it wasn't just preparing the material paraphernalia, but it was also developing the consciousness of welcoming new people.
Когда мы подготавливаем для новых людей, устраиваем для них то, что им необходимо для жизни, то таким образом мы как бы приглашаем этих новых людей, которые придут.
So now in New York we have a similar program. It's called Be a Monk. Be a Monk.
И сейчас у нас есть в Нью-Йорке программа «Быть обезьяной»,
where for one weekend interested persons who have been cultivated through our various programs can request to take part in that intensive immersion system of be a monk for one weekend.
Every weekend. Every weekend?
Not every weekend, it's every quarter, every 3 months.
Ага. То есть у нас есть такая программа, что каждые 3 месяца мы вот делаем такую программу, что какой-то человек, он ну вот как принимает на себя что ли форму обезьяны.
For 3 months we cultivate them.
И мы это делаем каждые 3 месяца.
And then whoever is serious, he wants to spend the weekend. From that process we have made many devotees.
И вот благодаря этому процессу мы сделали много преданных.
But you have to have the facility.
То есть вы должны иметь возможности для этого.
And you have to have the person who is willing to take responsibility.
И также вы должны иметь личность, кто возьмет ответственность.
In this way, automatically Krishna will send sincere souls.
И тогда Кришна пошлет к нам искренних душ.
And then it is our responsibility to mentor them.
И наша ответственность в том, чтобы вот думать таким образом.
Otherwise, our temples will become just simply places of deity worship with no life, except for that the ritualistic functions.
Иначе храм, он становится просто местом ритуальных действий, где просто поклоняются божествам.
It's interesting that Prabhupada gave the definition of a Vaishnava as one who makes other Vaishnavas.
И Шрила Прабхупада, он дал определение вайшнава. Это вайшнав тот, кто других делает вайшнавами.
He automatically wants to increase the numbers of those who can worship the spiritual master in Krishna.
И таким образом увеличивается количество, когда кто-то хочет искренне служить духовному учителю и Кришне.
So we see that from the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya. He was, well, we saw that, especially with the pastime of Jagai and Madai, Lord Nityananda is our eternal friend and bhakta leader.
И как в лиле Господа Чайтаньи, там, где был Джагай Мадхай и Нитянанда, он как вечный друг бхакта.
Because he was showing by example that no discrimination for preaching to the highest or the lowest. Everyone can receive love of Godhead equally.
И он показал пример, что при проповеди не нужно делать различия низший класс или высший класс, поскольку каждый достоин получить любовь Господа.
But there has to be the proper balance of compassion and instruction.
И одновременно должен быть правильный баланс между состраданием и наставлениями.
And so, following in the footsteps of Lord Nityananda, we should go out and preach everywhere to every person and ask them to chant the holy names.
И следуя примеру Господа Нитянанды, мы должны просить каждого человека повторять святые имена,
Regardless of how they may react.
невзирая на их ответ.
Because Krishna is seated within everyone's heart.
Поскольку Кришна находится в сердце каждого,
that reciprocation for our efforts will be based on that pure desire to serve the spiritual master in Krishna without motivation.
И он отвечает на чистое желание каждого, кто в сердце захочет служить духовному учителю и Кришне.
And so certain lines of action must always be maintained simultaneously in the temple.
И две эти вещи они должны поддерживаться одновременно в каждом храме.
We have our deity worship.
У нас есть поклонение божествам.
We have our spiritual practices.
У нас есть духовные практики.
We have Harinam Sankirtan.
У нас есть Харинама Санкиртана.
We have book distribution.
У нас есть распространение книг.
And then in America, at least, we have Sunday feast.
И как минимум в Америке каждую неделю мы делаем воскресный фестиваль.
So these things are the standard protocol for every temple established by Srila Prabhupada.
И этот перечень является тем протоколом, который Шрила Прабхупада установил для каждого храма.
And every temple has the potential to be a shining beacon of spirituality.
Каждый храм имеет силу для того, чтобы быть сияющим местом духовности.
That attracts people from far and wide.
И привлекать людей отовсюду.
So very important to always be available in the public eye.
И очень важно быть способным для вот этого общественного взаимодействия.
And therefore Harinam Sankirtan is one of the most essential means for that purpose.
И для этой цели Харинама Санкиртана является наиболее существенным методом.
Especially in an area as famous as Coconut Grove.
И особенно в этом месте, которое является очень знаменитым, Coconut Grove.
There can be Harinam every day, all day long.
И тут может быть Харинама каждый день настолько, насколько можно долго.
And very quickly, the project will blossom.
И очень быстро этот проект будет благословлен.
So we're humbly requesting everyone to provide the support that the devotees who have been serving their lordships for many, many years, who have just been waiting for some sincere souls to come and take up the challenge. Because this is not the first temple that has had some difficult times. We can even the temple, Manhattan, New York Temple, you would think such a famous temple where Prabhupada started the movement. What could go wrong? But at a certain point, the temple was completely abandoned. And it was very unfortunate. The deities were worshipped very nicely. But that worship was not having the desired effect, in the sense that who is coming to see them? Who is coming to observe? The temple was empty all day long. No spiritual programs. No Harinam Sankirtan. And so this was a very unfortunate situation. But somehow or other, Krishna seemed to have personally intervened. The temple was almost sold. As a matter of fact, the temple was actually sold. They had signed a contract. But the contract was declared void because they made a technical error. And that was the only reason that the temple was saved, by Krishna's mercy. And then the opportunity arose. The GBC saw that there was a need, and without any time wasted, they said, please, what can be done? And so in the same way, there are gems. Miami Temple is a gem. Such a beautiful situation. My assistant, when I was building Prabhupada's Samadhi in Vrindavan, my assistant Achyuta, he wanted to do something. And he, of course, Dharma must remember Achyuta, young Polish boy. He was the one who arranged the marble for the altar. And made by the same mysteries that carved the marble in the Vrindavan Samadhi. Very expert. So this is a very special project in many ways. So we're looking forward to visiting Yes, Mataji.
When we purchased this temple, me and Prabhu went to one meeting of the owners, proprietors in Coconut Grove. If the owner said no, we could not buy. So we went there like Japa, I had my sari, Balarama, with doors, everything. Who in charge was jurismen and police, sheriff, all the owners of the big proprietors of the globe sit down there. Then the jurismen said, now comes the Hare Krishna. And they want to buy the big property in the center of the Coconut Grove. Then police, the sheriff, everybody. Where I was like, oh my, then it was approved by the label. We found here was Batista Church, and we found here 100 Bibles. In the altar was by the city of Miami that building to this school.
Yes, cool.
And all the small tables and design by the kids was there. But when we arrived in the meeting, even sheriff, the police, everybody. Now the Hare Krishna comes. And we had new words.
Very good omen. Mataji is giving very good omen.
That time, Caitanya-caritamrita was the president of the temple, 1989, and we founded this society, the Glories, and we moved in January 1990. And one time when he was there, Govinda was here. He was in the restaurant. You remember Govinda? Sumati Muraj, come, he's here.
Very nice.
And Govinda, Govinda. Sumati Muraj comes, we don't know she comes. She comes with her son-in-law and her secretary. 2 diamonds, one big Orissa side, so then she comes. He was very busy, cooking for Jamaica, he was in the restaurant with the boss. Then Sumati Muraj. Then everybody, Sumati Muraj, where will you put Sumati Muraj? Then I said, Madam, I live across the street to my apartment. If you like, you can come. Then he bought a Govinda too, and then he went to my apartment to clean out. I had a big mess, I was sewing and I had a sewing machine. Then he bought a gold, that cleaning out, then she came from. And when the secretary signed the law, sold the place was small, simple. They said, Madam has Mayfair Hotel, 5-star, 2 blocks of view. Then she looked, she said, Krishna brought me to this home, and I want to see what Krishna wants.
Ah, very good.
Then I took her inside, I said, Madam, futon, pantalon da business. I had futon. Then I said, Madam, this is my bag. If you want, you can stay in this bag. She said, you stay in your bag. I go to the sofa. And I usually come to call the sofa. I get my bag to sleep. But she said, simple thought. Then I opened my clothes and said, Madam, what to do? Cotton saree, you know? It looked like that simple cotton. And he said, this is okay. I folded the sofa. Then he said, I will put my head here, my feet there, because Swamiji is here. This is Prabhupada.
Yeah.
Then I said, oh my God. She said, do you have water for Swamiji? Yes, I bring 1 cup. This cup has to be cold. Yes, madam. I took 1 glass of cold. I said, no, this makes a noise for me. Then I de Miami International News. I stay with Nityananda all the time. I prepare the baby. He's very sensible in what to do. Then I say to them, Madam, do you want breakfast? And she says, I want only Sashai, but no alone. With the divorce that come and told me,
Very nice.
when she saw everybody, she said, now I came. And she asked me, what time you wake up? Dharma Prabhu said, 4 o'clock. Who you see? He said, Prabhupada. Think about Srila Prabhupada because you think about Krishna. Then he comes to me and says, when you wake up, who you see? I say, my guru is disciple of Srila Prabhupada. He said, think about your guru, because your guru think about Prabhupada. The parampara was there. Then I was washing my dishes after that was the last. This one was the last one to me. And she said, do the same. The Bihar is supposed to purchase everybody.
You have to make sure you write it down in a book. Might have to book. Book.
Yes. Prabhu.
I have pictures.
Yes. I have a picture. I was washing the dish. And Sumati Murari asked everybody ask me, do you want anything? Do you need anything? And the instruction we have to do this thing. When somebody shall live in Miami, nobody approached these people to ask any donation. I mean, $20. I didn't want to know. Nobody was allowed to, because if they want to help the mission,
Yes,
they
yes.
can put it this way.
That's the way it works.
So, Sumati Murari comes to me and said, do you want anything? No, madam, I don't want anything. You want anything? No, madam, I have home, in my balcony, in my kitchen. Sumati Murari. For Krishna, you have to accept the
Yes, of course.
Then I said, please stop doing it, and I said,
Yeah.
then she comes, and it was very new.
Yeah, yeah.
And the divorce was asked for this one. And she told the secretary.
Yes. Very nice.
Secretary was named Driving.
Yeah.
This was Ambarisha Prabhu Swaha was coming with garlands to me for the Lord. She never Prabhu, never stimulating material. The floor was coming simple. We sit down on the floor. One day we had the auction, Rata Prata Vihari auction, shoes, and the baby was selling the master. Somebody tried to see. And they say, $100 for the shoes. I want one basta. This is crazy, no money, nada. $200. And the baby was Prabhu. Then I buy $300. 500. And the baby was, please, let us be fair. Who say we will give you the money, have to give you the money. And the baby said, $1,000. Then the baby said, $2,000. Then everybody thinks because you know me, this guy is broken, old. Then somebody said, $5,000. Then they bought it about then $5,000. Then somebody said, rather $5,000. Then somebody said, what happened to me? My wife was to polish the shoes. And they told me, this is the internet, I don't have credit card, and that time was my bag to open, and the money I received, then a Marisha come and say, I can help you? I said, yes, it was really self-pity, I put the hand in each other, I didn't bring the problem, bring the fish, and we sell the fish all night on the master, and about all night in the self-pity. But this is the way they was, and I was help for her. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that history, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Your class is very inspiring.
You'll have to come to New York and tell everybody sometime.
Has one mother coming to help everything, they go to New York, I will let you know.
Very good.
In Brazil, where is the garimpo?
Yes.
Gold, esmeralda. I did 1,000 Balarama in one day.
Whoa.
And we had a table, the airport, only private aeroplane.
Yeah.
No commercial, small aeroplane. We put the table there, and books, 500 per hour. And one time I gave for Prabhupada book,
Yeah.
one bag of powder gold.
Yeah?
And my guru, I said, what is your cost? I said, this book will give it for you the real pleasure.
Yeah.
Life.
Priceless.
Yes.
So Mataji, you have to train up all the new devotees. Or on book distribution, yeah.
You can make sure to
There's
take
one
your time.
place there,
Yeah.
North Brazil, I was there.
I think
They make pasta. They make it
Yes.
for, and the Mataji said,
Mataji is Maharata. Maharata.
Arati.
she said, Mother Murti, come.
Maybe Mother Murti and Narataka Gopal, they can again
They
begin.
had, you said about the program, they had one room which is all mattress
Yes.
for air. She said, Mother Murti is all mattress. Anybody that comes, we give you
Yeah,
mattress.
yeah, yeah.
Then they had one room there in the garden, Prabhu. Beautiful tree, beautiful table in the garden, beautiful, beautiful place. And I asked her, Mataji, and about this place? She said, it's for people revealing their own mind. When you want to reveal your mind, you and then you want to go beautiful in the garden, paroti, and you can talk and you reveal your mind. Then they have one room, internet room, everybody needs to compute everything. Then they have other room, TV room, Prabhupada video. And the time for Prashada Panchagolda, everybody eat together.
Okay.
That's correct.
No such a big table, they call everybody and everybody eat together.
Nice.
Madri Avatar. And she has two big houses.
When I see Sumati Murarji, I will see Sumati
She
Murarji.
left.
No, I know, but I will see it. No,
Nice stories.
no, she's still.
No, she left her body in 2000, many years ago.
Who?
Suma.